Hi, it is day 53 of 365 days of realizations. I am out walking and I found a new place. I think you can see behind me, there's a little creek. It's very exciting. I just love that sound. It just brings me back into the flow of myself. And it's very poignant because the sound of water does that. It is resonant to our beingness, to our presence, to our flow, to why we came, to what is so exciting to me. So today what I want to talk about is building again on yesterday's video. If you didn't watch it, then go ahead and check it out. I think I've been sort of on this little series, so the last 3 or 4 videos are connected in some way. Yesterday I talked about the spiritual path, and what I want to talk about is the consciousness that I had mentioned that is involved in that. So when we decide to be conscious about putting our feet on the spiritual path, on the spiritual journey, recognizing that it's not a journey to get somewhere, it's actually about the journey. You know, that fun saying, the joy is in the journey, is really relevant here because that is what it's about. It's really about this unfolding of our own selves. It's about consciously deciding to step away from forgetting, fully move into remembering, and just flow in that and be in that flow, just like this beautiful little creek. And what I love about creeks and rivers and bodies of water is that they know how to do it right. So they know how to flow, and it doesn't matter what kind of obstacles get in their way, they find a way to flow anyway. They find a way to flow around, over and under and through. And that is the power of source energy. When you just let go, I think I had this thought that was so interesting this morning, that it is not possible to stay grounded here. It's not possible to even consider yourself on a path without some resistance. Because if you think about it, resistance is kind of the thing that gives traction to anything, to any experience that we want to have. And so here in the physical world, there's a little bit of traction required to sort of stay here and to keep moving forward. So resistance is just a natural part. It's a natural part. It's a part that we can love. There's nothing wrong with it. It's the contrast, and the resistance just gives flavor. It's like the spice, the dance of life. And part of knowing you're a conscious creator is being able to flow and dance, just like this beautiful river flows and dances, and has the ability to just kind of soften the edges of anything that it comes up against and find a path, which is the fun idea, that path of least resistance, because there's always resistance, but also the notion that sometimes the resistance is there for a reason. Sometimes we put it there to show ourselves it. Sometimes it's that our desire is being filtered through a belief, so it can't go as high as we want because our belief isn't allowing it. And all of those things serve us to look at them. So the thing I want to talk about today, though, more poignantly, is that when we decide to be conscious about the path that we're on, when we decide to be a conscious creator, but also a conscious, awake walker on the path, so to speak, of the reunion with myself, this moving further and further, closer and closer to the truth of who I really am. When we make that our point, then we have some choices to make. Like, what does that mean when that becomes my intention? So my intention is to put my feet on the spiritual path, to move in the direction of knowing who I really am fully, more and more each and every day. So that if there was any measurement of success, it's just, am I further down that path? Did everything I do today take me as close as I could to reaching closer to my inner being? Sounded like a convoluted thing, but am I moving further to that realization, to that remembering? And not only that, but all the rememberings that have been behind me, all the past versions of myself that I could turn around and say, thank you so much. I see you. I appreciate you. You really helped me out. When I say that to those other versions of myself, is it possible to then hold what I have come to know? So through the experience of those thousands, if not millions, of past versions of myself, just in this lifetime alone, has caused me to incrementally move through all of those experiences. Is it plausible for me to make sure in every moment that I am holding it to the remembering that I already have established, see it as established, and then move even further and deeper into that remembering? So that's important. And what is some of the bases that takes us there? And so what I was thinking about is, I was having my conversation with my 12-year-old daughter about the difference between producing and consuming. It's just a simple thing. So to me, consuming is like information coming to me. So it's information, like if you watch a movie, then it's considered consuming. If you play a video game, if you read a book. And of course, we can all sit there and say there's different versions of consuming. Some are better than others. Some are, more high vibes. Some are more like teach you something of value. Some are more valuable. But if we take that out of it and just say there's like consuming versus producing. And so producing is like tapping into my own creativity, really being into my own flow, being quiet enough to let my inner being run the show for a little while. And it's interesting, as spiritual seekers and spiritual walkers of this path, how much we can end up in consuming, because we're looking for sort of not only the quick fix. I think there's a little bit of that. Like, I just want the thing that I think I want, even though the thing that most think they want is not a thing you get like that. It's not an achievable one-off thing. It's more of just a beingness, a process, a being, sort of like accepting the journey for what it is and then fully giving yourself to the path. That's how I see it. Also, though, there is this piece of the puzzle that is the constant moving and flowing and being just right where you are, right where you stand, and understanding that in that moment, in every split second, you are choosing. You're choosing where you want to put your focus, you're choosing where you want to put your energy, you're choosing what you want to believe, and you're choosing to live in that intention. So as a spiritual being on a spiritual path, coming home to themselves for the joy of the journey, to know they're a conscious creator, to feel the flow of source within them, to ooze love, to serve the other aspects of themselves or other beings that are here, to empty, to just be in that flow, to be a reflection, to be a mirror for others, like whatever level you're at and wherever you want to take this to really be that means that we're being called to be more conscious than ever about the littlest things, like how do we spend our time, and is the ways that we're spending our time taking us deeper into that place or further away. And so when we think about consuming and producing, I don't think that one's better than the other. I think there's a certain amount of consuming that really, really helps. It's like all the seeds that are inside of us that are ripe to awaken, that just are ready and just eager to blossom and need some watering. And sometimes the watering is just some epic thing that some other cool teacher said, or some other person said, or that book we read, or that high vibe show we saw, like something the neighbor down the street or the person at yoga class, like something someone says just resonates so deeply that then the remembering kind of pops and we can move to that place. But then there's this other time where we sort of settle into it and we be like, you know what? I feel like I'm good. Like I'm really good with that. And now I want to shift into this mode of producing. And of course, by producing, I don't mean just creating like art and writing and all that stuff is great, but I mean like living it, like embodying it. Like I took in the stuff, I took the information, all those little lights inside of me of remembering were lit up, and now I remember. And so now the producing component comes to be that now I'm going to walk it, I'm going to live it, I'm going to take it from a philosophy that lives in my head, sort of like as a mind thing, and I'm going to move it into my beingness. Not even just into my body, that's a good place to start, but also into like how I flow and how I live my life. And of course, we all know that when you're looking to be really present and be really in this state of awareness and really be conscious about that, the mind can kind of get in the way of that. So we sort of want to move beyond that. We want to move it into the place of awareness. So we need the time to practice that skill. If we run on automatic all the time and we take on this perspective of consuming, which we often do as seekers, not just seekers of spirituality, but seekers of knowledge, seekers of understanding. And it all makes sense. It's all beautiful. It's just that if we don't take the pause to then let all that we've been seeking and all that we've been sort of exposing ourselves to and taking in the validation from the outside. I mean, not validation from other people, but validation that that thing I felt my whole life is truth. Oh, it's true. I saw someone else say it. They're living it. They're breathing it. So I know it. And then it deepens it and deepens it. And that is just so beautiful. That's part of why we have so many other aspects of ourselves out loud to play with. That's the value of that outer reflection when we really take it to the highest potential of it. But then at some point we say, okay, I'm feeling like I got this, and now I'm going to move into like an integrative place, and I'm going to start being the thing that I've come to understand. And you give yourself that space and that time to just be with it, just breathe into it and just tune into it. And I wanted to just use a little example of this. So I know there's a lot of talk about abundance. There's a lot of talk about money and that kind of thing. And what I think is so interesting about it is if we all just felt abundant, abundance would be there. Because abundance isn't just about money. Abundance is a feeling that we can tap into. And I think abundance and freedom are often really connected. So if we just think about the feeling of freedom, you know, maybe put your hand on your heart and just be like, oh. Maybe lift your arms up and think about that feeling of freedom. You know, you're standing on the top of a mountain and looking down, and you just see the whole world as your possibility. You see infinite possibilities sitting out in front of you, with just ready for you to choose, knowing that anything you choose is possible. It is true that you can be or do or have any experience, any tool, anything that is going to help you to feel connected to that energy, to feel the feeling of freedom, to feel the feeling of ease and flow and abundance. And if you just, just tuned into that and trusted it, and then close your eyes and just breathe into that feeling. That feeling of freedom, that feeling of abundance. And notice how quickly those two feelings start to activate other feelings that you love, like the feeling of joy, the feeling of unconditional love as it kind of seeps into you, into your whole field of energy, filling your body, every cell, every little light packet of your beingness, surrounding you, spreading out beyond your body into the field that you occupy, into the field of everything, into every aspect of your projection, just to feel that unconditional love, that worthiness, that abundance, that joy. And just play with that and just see that it's possible, that everything that you have consumed, everything that you have been coming into knowing has brought you to this place of dropping in now. Drop into all that you've remembered. Give it the space to breathe you. Give it the space to be you, so that you can feel that, so that you can feel that ease with it. That's the gift to give ourselves on occasion. And it's not a gift about like, I gotta go veg, or I gotta go like de-stress. I mean, I don't see that. To me, stress doesn't even register as something that's relevant to my life. This is different. This is way, way, way beyond that. This isn't like I'm tired and I need to sleep, I need to recharge. No, this is about like, I have been in a mode where I have been looking to activate those light seeds within me, those little lights of remembering in me. And now that they're active, now that they're lit up, I'm going to nurture them. It's like the tiny little plants that grow, and then you nurture them and you care for them every day, so they'll get bigger and bigger and bigger. And again, it's not from that place that we think of as physical care. It's more from a place of like, just, I'm going to just go inward, and I'm going to be inward, and I'm going to be out in the world in the way that matches the inward state that I have achieved, because all those lights are lit up, and now I have the fullness of that knowing to move me forward, And so I am in essence stepping into this new expansion of myself. There's just no way around it. It is beautiful. And so as I stand here, it's like I'm walking further down the path, because this new me sees new things and sees that the path where it looked like it had gotten dark has now lit up, and a whole new level is built there for me. And so what's so fun about this is when we take those sort of integration moments or integration pauses, then we integrate, and then you know what happens? We enjoy sort of the fruits of the learning that we did. We enjoy it. We just sit with it. We be so damn appreciative of where we've come, of what we've come to know, and that we're here in this physical body where we can see it, feel it, taste it, smell it, and touch it, and really from the best, highest place, see our alignment out loud, see our manifestations come right in front of us, so that then the path just becomes that much more alive. So I invite you to think about that concept of consuming versus producing. You know, you could even say it's like consuming versus creating, or it's remembering versus creating, because we were stuck in forgetting. To let the forgetting let go is the remembering takes us out of that. We get to a place where we can't come back from it, and then the remembering has us, and as those different components of the remembering are lit up, guess what? Then we move into creating. And when we come to creating from that, it's sunk in, it's deep, and we know that we can create anything we want. So I invite you to tune into yourself and see if there's any value in that. If that feels right for you, drop a comment. I would love to hear what the feeling of freedom feels like for you. If you have an image you want to share, a word you want to share, the feeling of freedom and abundance, and what you can do that will activate that freedom. I recommend that after you do that little process where you feel the feeling, close your eyes, really tune to the feeling, then come up with some kind of statement, like your own little affirmation, like a word or 2 or 4 that really brings that feeling home for you, so that you can just activate it whenever you want, and then start just have an invitation with you and your inner being, like have an intention with yourself, like all the stuff that I've learned on this spiritual path. It's all going to be integrated. It's all going to become the way that I see the world, the way that I live my life now. And just trust that that's going to happen, and it will. Because you are the epic creator. It's just a game. We're all just playing. Think of it like a video game. Think of it like a board game. You're a character in a board game. You signed up for it. You came here for the fun of it. Nothing going wrong. Nothing ever could. It's just for fun. It's just for the own realization. And your character is a big part of that game. So just have fun with it. Love your character. Play it out. See what you can do. And just look at it like that. I will see you tomorrow.